What is up, my Little Deinos? Vepsis, your host of the Helsinki Dragons, and we are here for the UBL Season 4 Team Builder video versus AutoMatthic, and his team being the Nijmegen Nuzleafs. I'm sure I'm butchering it, but that's whatever. We are here going up against AutoMatthic, and this is gonna be a Team Builder video, which is going to be now separate from the battle, which you're gonna be seeing tomorrow, 24 hours from now, when this is gonna be uploaded in my channel. So if you're not subscribed yet, make sure to subscribe, and so you won't be missing out on the finals battle, which is going to be going up tomorrow. But before then, I wanted to make this Team Builder as separate, unlike I have done that throughout this season, where I have given like a very brief team review before the battle. But because this is the finals, this is the last battle, I wanted to give you guys a little bit more in depth that I have given throughout this season, and therefore also keeping the battle video in itself only regards to the action in itself. So I figured this would be the nice way to kind of round out this season as a whole. And now let's go through the team that I'm bringing versus AutoMatthic. The matchup you can see above my face cam, and we are gonna be starting my team build with my Conkeldar, which I was 1000% going to be bringing for this matchup, because he has the broken mode, which is still allowed and probably gonna be always banned from now on, or majority of the times, depending on once we get into the national decks meta game. Maybe then it's gonna be easier to allow, but currently it probably should not be allowed. But he has the Galarian Darmanitan, and I have to bring my Conkeldar as an offensive check to it. And Conkeldar overall outside of that has a very good matchup versus AutoMatthic, and he doesn't enjoy switching into this. And at first I thought about just going with a Gust Flame option and just murder through his team, like Drain Punch, Ice Punch, Earthquake and Mach Punch. Pretty much covered his entire team. With Gust Flame Orb boost, I basically two-shot even Alcremie if I had Stealth Rocks up for that. So that was the initial thought, that I wanted to go with Conkeldar, but I changed it to Assault Vest Iron Fist set because I wanted to have the Assault Vest bulk to be able to take a Rotom hit a little bit easier. Even though I have Seismitoad on my team, I kinda wanna have a backup check to it, something else that can also sponge hits from special side. And Rotom hit majority of the time will be the only special attacker that I anticipate to show up into the matchup in itself, barring like a Bronzong, but that won't be offensively invested in itself. So I figured that Conkeldar like this should be doing a lot of work versus him. We have Poison Jab, which he will be able to 2-hit KO Alcremie, even fully physically defensive, unless he has Kepia Berry, which will be reducing the first hit he would be taking from super effective Poison type move. And then we still have the Earthquake to hit the Garbodor, because otherwise we will not be able to hit it at all. And I would think that if it's going to show up, it's going to be there purely for Conkeldar, because to me, how I'm kind of visioning like what my opponent probably will and have to bring versus me, there are pick 4 members that I thought, with the people that are helping with me, I'm gonna mention a few people and shout out them, who gave me a lot of help throughout this week regards to giving mocks and ideas that what I should be bringing and what kind of sets I should be expecting. But very simple and easy things that I think that my opponent has to bring are: 1, Galarian Darmanitan Choice Scarf. I think that's just way too good of him to not to pass up to bring, even if I have Conkeldar, because he needs to have the speed control, and especially because the Boltund may not necessarily to show up. That just ups the necessary of Choice Scarf Darmanitan to come into this matchup as some sort of speed control versus everything else barring the Conkeldar in itself. So I think that will be one mon that he has to bring. I think he has to bring Rotom Heat 1000%, because I have a Corviknight, and Rotom Heat is quite annoying versus my team, and I'm very much so fearing a ring target trick set from his Rotom Heat to trick my Seismitoad so he can Volt Switch for free, or even Thunderbolt me. And then also if he decides to bring Boltund, Boltund is also freed up to be able to hit me super effectively as well, whereas in normal situations Boltund should not be showing up into this matchup, because Seismitoad would just completely wall it, and he would be pretty much stuck with that mon in itself until that thing is taken care of. So I think the Rotom Heat with the ring target trick set makes a lot of sense for him to bring. So that is the second mod that I expect him to bring. The third member would be fully physically defensive Bronzong with Colberry and body press, because I have an obstacle that's his best normal resist, which can also kill me back and can be also a stealth rocker for him. So I think that would be something that he has to bring. And then the fourth necessary member that I think he should be bringing versus me is a Assault Vest Crafty to help dealing with Gengar, cause he is very weak to Gengar if he doesn't bring that. And I think he needs to have that Ghost resist that deters me able to just click Shadow Ball free versus him. He could bring something else with Assault Vest as well, like Seismitoad or pretty much anything else. But I feel like Scrafty, because it can resist that Ghost type, is too important. And if he has that and Bronzong, and he knows that my Gengar is Choice Scarf or choiced in any matter, it makes it a little bit easier for him to pivot around it properly instead of not bringing them, for example. So I think those four make a lot of sense versus me. Haxorus, I think, even if I have Corviknight, will probably still come with like a Sword Dance Life Offset to just to mold through my defenses. And then the final member is going to be either the Garbodor if he wants to have a defensive response to Conkeldurr. It could be Delmice to get rid of Stealth Rocks. It could be Seismitoad with Assault Vest as a secondary check to Gengar. He could bring the Boltund if he thinks he's comfortable be able to trick successfully my Seismitoad. So those are kind of the things that I anticipate to show up. I don't expect the Alcremie to show up, but I'm still somewhat prepared for it just in case. And other than that, I feel like that's kind of like the overall feel of the matchup, that what four I expect and what are the other last two members potentially going to be. But regards to the Conkeldurr, it's going to be Assault Vest this week, Iron Fist with Drain Punch, Poison Jab, Earthquake and Mach Punch, basically covering everything that it needs to. And after Rocky Helmet recall on the Darmanitan, once it goes for like U-turn for example versus me, it should be in a range of Mach Punch, and you're gonna be seeing that something on my team does provide that Rocky Helmet chip for me throughout the matchup. So I will be positioning myself very nicely in late game to be able to check the Darmanitan always with my Conkeldurr. And then the next member of the team is going to be Corviknight, which is going to be fully physically defensive with Iron Head, Reflect, U-turn and Roost, and with pressure ability as well. And we are going to be holding the Light Clay because majority of his team is physical attacking orientated, so having 8 full turns of Reflect can be huge to really shut down his offense and make it a lot more awkward for him to function throughout the battle in itself from his perspective, to be able to do anything offensively or check my offense with his own. So I figured that would be pretty clutch. It's also really clutch versus the Haxorus, which this thing is primarily there to check, because even if he tries to go to +6 with Sword Dances or Dragon Dances, I always will have his damage no matter what kind of attack boost he has. If he has +6 attack, I'm basically nullifying it to be +3. If he's +4, it's +2. You get the picture. Reflect is huge in that matter, so I don't have to try to keep up with the setup with Iron Defenses, for example, which would be the other way around to go about it if I didn't do this. But I think this is more efficient versus the Haxorus, and it's more useful for my rest of the team to have this reflect support versus my opponent. And now that I still remember, I do want to mention the people. I probably will mention this in the battle in itself, but just here as well in the team builder aspect. Huge shoutouts goes to GCC aka Milan, who not only helped me throughout this finals to prepare, but he also was the person to help me in the semi-finals build and came in big help in that regard, especially when I was dealing with sickness. So big shoutouts to him. I really appreciate it, Veli, that you helped me out. And big shoutouts goes to Burn and Martin as well, who not only provided me mocks, several ones of them, but they also were able to give me some input from their perspective, like about my sets, that what should be most optimal from their perspective, what made most sense to them, and what kind of made most sense for my opponent to bring versus me, and kind of giving me feedback in that regard. So big thank you to Martin and Burn as well. And also I want to remember to mention Spalko and Pichu Bros, who gave both one mock each of them for this matchup. So I'm very heavily prepared for this, more so than ever, because I tend to usually just build on my own and just go with my experience and kind of having that my own self-confidence that this is how I want to play this matchup, this is how I build it, and this is my game plan. But this week, because it's the finals, I want to be as prepared as possible, and big thank you to those people that helped me out in that regard. But now, let's jump into the third member of the team, which Corviknight actually helps out quite a bit just to provide the momentum, because this is a huge lure for his Rotom Heat to come in for free. So I want to have the U-turn there on Corviknight, get the little bit of chip, so it should be in range of my main wall breaker of this week, which is going to be Adamant, Guts boosted Obstagoon, holding the Flame Up, and we are gonna be running Adamant Nature because this matchup speed tier wise for his Rotom Heat is very awkward, because I don't have necessarily anything close to its speed tier like below it that it can outspeed or has to outspeed with plus speed nature necessary. So I'm taking a gamble in that regard and thinking that he should be speed creeping at most, if anything, a Jolly or slash timid nature Seismitoad if it has to worry about offensive Seismitoad for whatever reason, and it has to be max speed because both of us share a Seismitoad on our roster besides our Creamies. So based on that knowledge or like assumption that I'm making, thanks to my front office helping with making this decision as well, because this was also another big decision having to make, that what kind of speed I wanted to put on this in the end. So we are speed creeping that, still able to run Adamant Nature, and with just Adamant Nature max attack, once we are Guts boosted with Flame Up activated, Facade has already from full 50% of chance to OHKO a max HP Rotom in itself. From there, just max HP spread, we almost just guarantee OHKO from full. And once we get a U-turn chip, and he doesn't have defense investment or being bold nature or anything, we can just knock it out like that out of the picture, and that would be very huge because Rotom Heat, besides Darmanitan and Haxorus, are probably the big three most annoying things for me to deal with. So be able to eliminate that thing, have something that ideally outspeeds it with the little bit of risk that we are taking, and able to always OHKO it right from the get-go, or anything else that would try to switching on this, because he doesn't have great switchings to Obstagoon. He's only normal resist, ghost type, and a part ghost type in Delmise, and then Bronzong being his steel type is also weak to Dark Stab of mine. So just Guts boosted Obstagoon does so much work versus him, and I can pretty much always freely click Facade, and if he tries to switch into one of those two, I can always scout for the potential Combo Berry, especially Bronzong is very high chance that it's going to be that, and I can always Parting Shot from there, go into something else and force him to chip himself down if he tries to use Bronzong as his normal resist until it's outside of range to able to anymore live a Guts boosted knockoff if it's going to be Combo Berry, or if I'm able to get rid of the Combo Berry with my next member of my team, which is going to be running also Dark Pulse on it, being the Galarian Weezing, just in case if I need to pop the Combo Berry, I have the backup plan from there. We also run Protect on this over Obstruct, because I don't want my Flame Up to be tricked by the Rotom Heat. If my opponent tries to predict me to swap into Seismitoad, he goes for the ring target, I try to go for the Obstruct, and all of a sudden I'm in a position that I didn't get my Guts boost. So we are preventing that scenario for whatever reason to not be able to happen, and I didn't need necessarily the Obstruct to try to fish for the -2, because I think I already do enough damage versus him as it is, so I rather have the guaranteed way to activate my Guts boost without having to worry about that scenario versus the Rotom Heat. So that's the Obstacle in itself, and then we are gonna be covering the Galarian Weezing, which is purely there to deal with the Galarian Darmanitan. With the neutralizing gas, we actually are able to nullify Gorilla Tactics ability. So if it's gonna be Choice Scarf, we take like 33% most from the Icicle Crash, which is pretty huge because almost nothing can switching on Galarian Darmanitan in this format, and that's why it's considered broken. The other mode that I could have used is switching to it or be brought into this matchup to navigate the effectiveness of Icicle Crashes just to be spam versus me would have been Centiskorch, which I heavily debated over this at the end, but Weezing with the Rocky helmet is just too valuable to be there, just to provide me the extra chip that I need, so it's in a range of Mach Punch from Conkeldor. It provides me defog support just in case if he brings the Carbodo and tries to spike stack me. I wanted to have it there and not have defog on my Corviknight, so it can have the moves that it already had, which we covered earlier. And this thing also with the Dark Pulse is able to lure in and pop the Colberry on the Bronzor, which is really huge for my obstacle, because that makes like a 10 to 15% damage output difference that if he has the Colberry intact or if he doesn't have it intact anymore in itself. So I figured that it's too valuable to have the Dark Pulse just in case for that. And I'm also running it off the chance he runs like a heat proof to be able to navigate the fire type move damage from this thing, from Sentiscores or anything else. I thought that heat proof as well might be something that he decides to put as ability over Levitate in this matchup. So off the chance of those scenarios, Dark Pulse made most sense to me. And then we have Pain Split as a form of recovery. This is probably the mode that is gonna die first, if anything, from my point of view. But it's still very nice for me to have, just to chip down the Galarian Diamond, and it can actually deal with this Scrafty quite well too. And I should not be losing my Rocky helmet, because this is a pre-home meta game, and things like Scrafty and Seismitoad, for example, they don't have access to knockoff as of yet. So this item should be always intact on my Weezing, the way I'm gonna be playing it. And so many of his attackers, as we covered earlier, are physical attackers. So having this with Rocky helmet can provide us the chip versus all of those physical attackers, but most importantly for the Galarian Darmanitan. So I have ways to check it later on once it's been chipped down from that. So that is going to be Galarian Weezing, and then we are going to be covering next my Seismitoad, which is going to be running a very unique move on it, which you probably don't see almost ever run in Draft League format or competitive play. And we are going to be running Scald, Grass Knot, Fling, and Stealth Rocks on this thing, with leftovers and Water Absorb as well. And we have enough bulk on a physical side besides the HP combined with it to not be 3-8 KO'd by Boltund. We have a little bit speed investment just in case if I want to outspeed the Carbodo and get up a Stealth Rocks versus before I would go down. Or if his Seismitoad is like Assault Vest, like max HP, max special attack, or like very bulky instead, not offensive, I can still potentially outspeed it if he doesn't put more speed than I do. And then I can go for a Crash Knot and get some cheap damage on him. And Fling is there just in case for Rotom Heat running Trick Ring target versus me, so I don't lose my immunity to his electric type attacks once I'm able to go for the Fling, because the way that move works is that I'm able to just throw away my item versus my opponent. It's gonna do some sort of damage, I guess, but more importantly it gets rid of the ring target item from me if it's going to be tricked to my Seismitoad, so I can later on kinda deter his Volt Switch spam from his electric types and or any of their stabs in that sense. So I figured that that's a pretty cool idea. This wasn't my own idea, I want to mention. This was something that Martin brought up to me, and he kinda make up for his own mistake that he did, but I'm not gonna mention that on this video. He already knows what mistake he did, which didn't help me on this team builder progress, but he made up for giving this idea of Fling to able to get rid of that ring target. So that was pretty clutch from his behalf, so thank you to him. And hopefully I don't have to rely on it, but it made myself feel a lot more easier going to this match. So I had some sort of way to get rid of the ring target if my opponent is able to successfully trick it, and I cannot predict around it properly when he would go for that. So that's going to be the Seismitoad, and then the final member of the team is going to be Choice Scarf Gengar, which is not the optimal way to run it necessarily, because like Expert Belt would be really good here, so I can swap out my moves. But Choice Scarf Gengar is just able to provide me the fastest move into the matchup, barring a Choice Scarf Boltund, or if he's able to boost up beyond like +2 speed with like Haxorus for example, or anything else that for some reason would be able to do that, like with Plunder Policy, if he runs that on anything, which I don't expect to show up, but just to mention it at least, that this thing should not be able to outspeed those. But ideally I have the fastest mon in the battle with this thing. I can check a +1 Haxorus, I can check Choice Scarf Darmanitan with this self, and I also have Trick just in case if I need to trick the Alcremie, if it shows up and turns out to be a setup set which I don't expect be able to do versus me, but off the chance my opponent is very desperate with his game plan and is thinking that, okay, I can eliminate all the things that Alcremie would be checked by with my offense, so I can then sweep later on with the Alcremie itself. Just in case if he has that kind of mindset, we have the trick to nullify that, or if I have to trick this on anything else that is a defensive pivot from his behalf and I don't need my choice curve anymore, and it's more useful for me to be able to swap out my moves between like my stabs and dashing gleam, I have the option there. So that's going to be the Gengar, and that's basically the team in itself. I probably made this like 20-minute long video at least, so my apologies, but I did mention starting off this video, and you're gonna be noticing already when you started watching this, that this is a little bit longer than normally team builder videos would be, but I wanted to give you pretty much the whole idea of this team and how the matchup is looking from my point of view. And you can check out from AutoMatthic side of things as well. I'm pretty sure he always uploads a team builder exactly the same time as I'm planning to upload this one, so you can go and kind of compare our teams and wait for seeing the tomorrow's battle in itself on both of our sides, which is going to be uploaded 24 hours from now. So stay tuned for that, subscribe to this channel, make sure to go and check out AutoMatthic as well, and thank you all for watching, and I'll hopefully get to see you tomorrow for the UBL Season 4 finals. Let's finally win the title for us, which we have been long and been waiting, and to be honest, I feel like I already deserve the title, so hopefully we can get that tomorrow, but we have to wait and see. Thank you all for watching yet again. I'm gonna be seeing you guys later.